All right, good evening. It's 6 o'clock. At this time, we'll call the Boquet Valley Central School District Board of Education meeting to order. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So as a reminder why we're here, I will read the district vision. The vision of the Boquet Valley Central School District is to become the best rural school in New York State. We will accomplish our vision by providing exceptional opportunities to all learners and preparing them to set and reach their future goals by embedding our core values into their student experience. Bridget, please call the roll.
Tom Broderick.
Here.
Alyssa Carroll.
Here.
Paige Cotter-Saltimach.
Here.
Darlene Hooper.
Here.
Sarah Coleman. Deb Spalding.
Here.
Jason Welch.
Here.
Sadie Burgess.
Here.
Thank you. And as a reminder to the attendees, please, if you haven't done so already, sign in over at the desk by the door. All right, our first agenda item of the night is the capital project update. And I see Mr. Mike Harris has joined us from BCA, so I'll turn it over to Mike.
Thank you. I think it's been a while, maybe almost a year since I've been to a board meeting. I think there's some new faces on the board. Well, nice to meet you all, but I've been involved in the project since its initiation in 2020 when we did an analysis of the district and presented some options on various sightings of a new K-12 facility somewhere in the district. And those, I'm sure you all know, last fall we went through a very exhaustive process reviewing what the other options were, utilizing one or both of the existing buildings to come up with an acceptable program to support the district. And tonight I'd like to start out with discussing a little bit about the scope, where we kind of ended up. Of course, we're talking about doing work at the Elizabethtown campus at Mountain View. So I want to talk about what that would all entail, talk about we've got three scenarios with differing costs depending on the level of work that you determine to do, and then talk a little bit about the schedule. And I think really what we want to do tonight is kind of get a consensus or get an idea and let the board think about the extent of the scope, because obviously it's all tied to the cost. And there's no point in talking about a $30 million project if the local share is beyond what the taxpayers would want to support. So we can always scale the project down, we can always scale the project up, but what we're trying to do is get a determination from the board. What do you feel comfortable with in the size of the project that might go forward? So if you would advance this, Josh. Where we are right now, and again, I'm going to present three similar projects all at the Mountain View campus, varying degrees of scale, scope, and cost. But in all three of the scenarios, the main focus is to bring the elementary program to that campus is going to require additional classrooms. So what you're looking at here is the site, and you can see the footprint of the existing facility. And then the white area represents a 18 classroom addition, actually 17 classroom addition off the back of the building, which wraps around so that we can connect it to the far end by the new gymnasium so that you have easy circulation around the entire facility. We don't have a wing that's a quarter mile or an eighth of a mile beyond the administrative areas. The biggest, one of the things we're grappling with is what do you do with your site? And obviously to do this, we're going to eat up quite a bit of grass area that's used for play field and the playground that's there now. The playground can be recreated, and the thought is to put it within the courtyard and have the pre-K and the kindergarten rooms enter into it or into the courtyard so that the playground is encapsulated. There would also be parking for any of the teachers and the administrative staff that would be located at that end of the building. but it does impact the availability of the PE fields, cuts it down by about a third. And there's not a lot we can do with that because you are landlocked. And I think the decision on what to do with the ball fields, the sports fields, the competitive fields, at least at this point, is to continue to do what you're doing now. And in the future, you may look at another project if properties were available to expand facilities closer to the actual facility. The existing footprint, just for information, the existing building, about 2 stories plus the basement, is about 95,000 square foot of space. The elementary addition comprises about 22,000 square feet of space. Now, the next 2 slides, this is the first floor of the building in the white, and the yellow would be the addition. And you can see and you can count the number of classrooms. All elementary in the yellow on the addition wing. So 17 classrooms, 3 of them are special ed. Let me rephrase that, 18 classrooms, I guess. 3 special ed, and then 15 new classrooms, pre-K through 5 plus 1 6, and 1 6th grade classroom is actually in the far end of the existing building. So there'd be 18 classrooms total. The remainder of the first floor, the classroom wing, for the most part, is the middle school program, and then there's support spaces and administrative staff. The auditorium, the gym, the auditorium, the large gym and the gymnatorium would pretty much stay as they are, as well as the main office and the district office off to the left there. So that the addition is a single story at grade, comprising all of the elementary program with the exception of 1 6th grade classroom. The second floor, not a lot changes up there, if anything at all. There may be some program spaces that are relocated so that the room names would change, but the layouts all remain the same, and it's the secondary program.
Can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
Is the first floor, could you support a second floor in the future?
We can design it that way. It adds expense at the get-go, but absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. And then we have a couple renderings of what the elementary addition may look like from the entrance behind the school now, or where the ball fields are. So keep it simple. As I said, single story, all elementary, which relatively, as we look into schools, elementary schools are less expensive, obviously, to construct than a secondary school or middle school, because you don't have the programs like the science labs, which are expensive to outfit and such. Only the classrooms are in the addition. All the support is coming from the existing building. So the cafeteria, the kitchen, the power plant, the boilers would all remain in the existing building, and we would feed and extend them to this addition. And there you can see the view with the gym off to the right and the addition to the left. Does everybody have, you've got this?
Mm-hmm.
This is a little hard. Well, it's hard to read from here. So I'm going to pull it up on my phone. But the next slide, if you've had a chance to look at this, or if it's been reviewed otherwise, this is SED's calculation on the aid that's available for this project in particular, and it's divided into the secondary program and the elementary program. And there's complex calculations that go into determining what that number is, and it all comes down to what's called a pupil station. And in this instance, because the school has fewer than, I think the number is 13 interchangeable classrooms, the secondary program, starting at the middle school, it's basically how many interchangeable classrooms do you have? That means English, math, history, social studies, foreign language. How many do you have? You get 30 kids for every classroom, and you get, I'm not going to throw the number out. Well, it is, I don't know if it's on here or not, but you get so much money. When you add that all up, you get so much money that you can put toward the existing building to spend it any way you want for reconstruction. For the elementary school, it's typically 27 pupils per classroom. So to keep the math simple, if we were to build 20 classrooms, that would be 520 kids times $20,000 per pupil, which would be $10 million or around there. That's just kind of a general idea to give you how the calculation works. We've got 18 classrooms or 17 classrooms, but SCD has only allowed 10. So they've allotted 270 units, children in aid, and 20 of those, 290, I'm sorry, 20 of that is for a secure vestibule, which you get aid for. 27 is to construct 10 classrooms. So, and that will pretty much cover the cost of those classrooms, but if you want more, if you want 15, 16, or 17, that becomes the local share. And that's what my next slide will show you when we start talking about the cost of the project and how much of it, what percentage of it is actually aidable. So we could go there, Josh, and it might help explain things a little better. So on this slide, we've laid out 3 scenarios of progressively more costly projects, which allow you to do more work at each level. So what we're calling scenario number 1, the low project, you can see the cost of the elementary addition, we believe at this point is about $15.3 million to construct that. That includes the site work, the parking lot, any of the soft costs associated with the design, the construction oversight. In the renovation work, if we do the building condition survey work, what really needs to be done, upgrading your mechanical systems, your electrical systems, your life safety systems, bringing the building up to current fire code, there's about $16.1 million worth of work. So that project, probably the lowest cost project that we could put together is about $31.4 million. Your aid, I don't want to confuse you here, your aid is about 27 million, but you only get 90% of that. So your aid is truly 22.9 million. That means the local share, what would be contributed to a tax levy to execute this work would be about $8.5 million. And then we can talk about 2 other scenarios, which basically add scope to the work. So whereas then scenario 1 is really, it's your infrastructure, it's your mechanical systems, electrical, and again, life safety. Scenario number 2 provides all that work, but in addition to that, it replaces roofs, exterior doors, floor finishes. There's asbestos abatement that would be included. It would replace any of the broken or deteriorated asphalt, concrete, sidewalks or parking lots, upgrade the toilet facilities and the cafeteria and the auditorium. But the cost associated with that would add about $5 million to the local share. Again, it would become a tax levy. The third scenario, again, it includes everything in scenario 1, it includes everything in scenario 2, but then it goes throughout the existing facility and gives the entire building a facelift, gets into any of the finishes, doors, ceiling replacements, window treatments, perhaps replace the laboratory casework in the science rooms or any of the specialty areas. So that scope, the high end, is adding another $10 million to the overall project, and which would all be local share, so another 10. So really the question for the board is, to which level do you desire to expand, and to which level do you desire to renovate or upgrade the existing facility? At which level can the populace support that work, knowing that there is going to be an impact to the tax base?
I have a question.
Mhm.
So just a while ago, you had stated that the state didn't give us full on the elementary addition.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at this and it's showing that it looks like it's almost like 8.5 million they didn't cover. Am I correct on that?
Yes and no.
Yes and no. Okay.
So their calculation is based on the preliminary submission that was sent down, I think it'll be a year ago in January. And the estimates we put forth at that time didn't come from the construction manager. We didn't have time to wait for them because it takes months. So we put a best guess estimate on what the addition was going to cost. Once we got the estimate back from the construction manager, it's actually about $1 million less. So that overage that you're seeing here is truly $1 million less.
So 7.5 million. Am I correct in that range?
Well, it's what's on the slide above.
Because you said they basically would cover 10 rooms
Yeah,
of the new addition. I'm just wondering, I mean, what would it run if it was the 10-room addition and more renovation? I mean, because you said we got better percentage on the renovation, right? Or most of it was covered, or all of it was covered.
Yeah, okay, so you're correct. The overage, or the amount that's not aidable on the elementary is about 7 million after we adjusted the numbers based on that. The allowance for the reconstruction in the existing building is 17.9 million. So you want to spend every penny of that, but you can only spend it on the existing building.
Correct.
Because you're getting 90%, you're paying a dime on a dollar.
Yep.
So we can't use some of that to offset the.
No, I know
addition.
that. But I'm just saying if we like maxed out that 17.9.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty we could do for renovations.
Yeah.
And it kept down on the size of the addition to match what the state is saying we need.
Well, exactly, although this presentation and the numbers I'm presenting, there's two things that aren't in here. One is the capitalized interest, which is, I think it's about $900,000, but you also have reserves. So you can use your capital reserves to offset what the state is not paying, or what the state is not aiding you. So you could, yes, we can maximize the renovation work right up to the penny. We can cut the addition down to some extent, but maybe not fully, and then use your capital reserves to make up the difference. So that's really what we're looking for, to kind of get that balance.
Can I just ask, has a room and / space utilization study ever been done or proposed?
You know, correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, but I think you did that when we were looking at a separate campus to
Yes.
justify the, we have not done one, but the district may have.
Because we have said, I know Dr. Meyer has said in the past that we, like for example, the use of a classroom for his office. He said we had the additional space, so that's why we used it.
Mhm.
So there is additional space right now, some in Mountain View campus. So if we had a space room utilization study, perhaps we would find more ways that we could utilize some space for classrooms, so we could cut down on the required number for the new addition. And then it would give us more money for the renovations.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, for every classroom you cut out of the addition, you're gonna have 2 sections per grade level. If we cut 4 out of the addition, you gotta find room for them
Right.
somewhere in the existing building. We did look at it based on, I mean, every room on that floor plan has a section or a function. And we were looking for classrooms that might be overly large. But the thing, most of your classrooms are actually undersized by SED standards. Like a 770 classroom is a standard. That's clear space after the wardrobes and the cabinetry. So, I mean, a typical classroom is about 850 square feet. Most of your rooms are less than 8. So if you had a room that was 1,400, you might be able to cut it in half and turn that into 2 rooms, as long as the program had 8 kids instead of 20 in it. That's one of the things that we can do, looking at the existing building. But there's not a lot of wiggle room there, unless, as you said, you can double up on a program.
Right. And you utilize the space, like, for example, offices, turn them back into classrooms rather than using them for offices when they're full-size classrooms. Another question I have is that the numbers provided to state ed regarding our future enrollment seem to be a little bit elevated. And I wonder if, when the beds forms are filed in September and our numbers are fewer, is that going to affect the aid allotment for the facilities project? Is state ed going to look
No.
at that and say,
No,
I think so.
no?
no, and you're talking about the actual number of pupils. I mean,
Student
you're-
enrollment.
Yeah, it doesn't a lot, because whether you have, I'm gonna put 22 first graders or 28, you still need 2 classrooms, because you're not gonna put 22 kids in one room. So even if the numbers come down, there's still a certain number of classrooms you're gonna require, as long as you have more than, say, 18 kids at one grade level.
Well, for example, we have 14 enrolled in kindergarten.
Okay, well then, well then that maybe you only need 1 kindergarten.
Right now, we have 14 in kindergarten, or are you talking about projected?
Projected in September.
Yeah, I think
No, no,
that's,
okay, let's just make sure that we're using the correct terms here. So our projected enrollment, based on the study that was completed in December, is for 28 kindergartners. Our current enrollment is significantly less than that. However,
That's
the
what
year
I'm saying.
hasn't started. Right, the year hasn't started, there's some opportunity to get more. Do I think we're gonna get up to 28? I do not. But the projected enrollment, based on the study done by an outside organization, was for 28 incoming this fall. But we're not there.
But the actual is much less. That's what I'm saying. Is state ed going to look at that and say, well, then you may not qualify for as much as we thought, based on your enrollment?
No, it won't change that much.
Okay.
And remember, whatever you're talking about here, you're 3 years away. So what today's enrollment is, it's 3 years from now that you're going to be occupying this building, or the new building anyways.
so
Does that kind of discrepancy, Josh, usually come through the difference in the numbers?
So this is probably the biggest discrepancy that we've seen. But so the first enrollment study that we had done before the first project, probably 2021-ish, that was pretty consistent with the numbers that we saw last year as well. So both had this year's incoming kindergarten class in the neighborhood. One was 28, one was 29. So why there are so few? So, yeah, I don't have an answer to that.
do we typically have that many later enrollments, second half of August? Would you expect more?
So John handles that, so if you don't mind.
So there's usually a lot of last minute enrollments, like a week or two before the first day of school, and then roughly around December, like during the holidays, that's when a lot of people start switching schools.
Right.
So, I mean,
A lot being 25%?
Right.
That's right.
Right, so
Or,
right.
I don't know, I'm asking, what's a lot mean? I know,
To me, a lot would be like, in December, a lot would be like 10.
okay,
Yes, but I don't know exactly, I shouldn't.
well, like 50% of the potential class, there are usually 20 to 30 kids, I get that, like, I don't need you to give me an actual number, but like, there's more, and right now, you normally get a good amount more, and then December from moving.
So already I'm expecting at least 2 enrollments right now.
Okay.
There's usually some more last minute enrollments. that
2
come-
enrollments for kindergarten?
Plus,
No,
No, just school-wide.
school-wide.
oh, okay.
Yeah, school-wide. So there's a couple that I know of, but the parents just haven't gotten the packets back to me yet. And then usually around December, we have switchovers.
Yep.
And then there's also like, foster students. may
Right.
come in.
I was just trying to get a feel for this to Darlene's point, which is a good point. We're significantly less than what we forecasted, and for kindergarten enrollment, historically, would we expect some more kindergarten enrollments between now and the start of the school year? Or is it a bit late for that, for those kindergarten enrollments?
It's really hard to say, honestly. I mean, I could look at previous year enrollment trackers and just look at how it's changed. But I don't know. It seems like it varies. from all grade levels. We just get students in the last minute.
So with the MCA calculations, Mr. Harris, that you went through, you know, the left side new, that's for the addition, right? And then the right side existing.
Yep.
That's for the renovation.
Mhm.
So the renovation allowance was 17.9 million, like you stated. Our low scenario has us a little bit under that with a $16.1 million plan. And you mentioned, and my opinion is that I agree that we should try to maximize that and, you know, if it means adding a secure vestibule, that's one option that I would advocate for, but, you know, whatever it might be, we look at what's on that scenario 2 and say, hey, we want to add this to get the maximum cost allowance money from the state.
Are you talking though for the addition or?
For the addition,
renovation?
I'm only talking for the renovation. right now,
Renovations, okay.
Just for the renovation.
Mhm.
I do have a little bit of a question there. How does, you know, as the scope changes, I totally understand with the new building that maximum cost allowance is gonna be fixed, because, okay, I need to have, I'm putting this many students now in this new space, and here's what the state's calculation says you get, number of classrooms and whatever for that many students, but for the renovation piece, my mind is kind of stuck on if we were to do a capital project today, to renovate this building, there would be building aid for that, I believe, right?
Oh,
And-
this building,
Yeah,
yeah, sure.
yeah. So how is that calculated? It's not, the reason I ask is because our state aid does not go up with these other scenarios.
Not on the elementary scenario, it goes up, oh, no, it goes up. Your state aid is fixed, it's gonna be the same for the elementary, and it's gonna be the same for the secondary school. If you were to spend up to the max, it doesn't, you're right, it doesn't change. So anything you expend over that is the local share.
On the renovation, scope doesn't matter for that aid.
You've got $17 million, 17.9.
0.9, yep,
The scope is determined by the board.
yep.
Now, you've got more than enough work to do to expend that. The most of it is gonna be the bulk of it's gonna be under what's shown in scenario 1. There's another $1 million after that, or 1.8, which then the board could prioritize the items that we've listed under scenario 2 in whatever order that you prefer.
Yeah, it may be more of a question for Dr. Timms or someone on the financial side, but I'm trying to understand if we had a building project today and we were doing we're just talking renovations, do they look and say, here's your maximum cost allowance based on the size of your school? And that's the most.
Yeah, if you were gonna do a
period
reconstruction,
on any project, or
if you were gonna
seems
do a
like-
reconstruction project in Mountain View today, not an addition,
Uh-huh.
you could spend up to 17.9. You could do that once every 5 years.
okay, got it.
And so what happens is,
That makes sense.
they'll only, the incidental costs, the soft costs, the site costs, legal, financial, architects, all that, they'll only fund that once in a 5-year period. So, but you could do $17.9 million of Mountain View every 5 years, as long as you had a need and the public would support it.
But the percentage we get back is different, because this 90 is a bonus for merge.
Yeah, and Josh, I'm not sure what you would revert back to once this incentive.
So I actually just had that calculated, so it should be like high 60s.
Yeah, big difference.
It'll depend on that year,
Mhm.
but if we lost, if we reverted this year, it would be in the high 60s.
vouchers left. I got it.
Other questions or discussion on this? I know there were a pretty good handful submitted ahead of time. So it was 18 classrooms. That addition, with 3 of them being special ed,
And one of them being a sixth grade classroom.
1 6th grade. And 14.
So if I understand it right, correctly, if we reduce the size of the addition, that would give us more, there would be more money available for further renovations?
No,
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 no, they're two totally separate
two
things.
separate things, okay.
yep, the
If you-
max on the renovations is
Okay.
17.
Reducing the scale of the addition simply saves local share money. It
Saves
saves
local share, okay.
The only point I would make, and I understand we have a responsibility to be fiscally responsible and try to put the bare bones project out in front of the community for support. We're talking about just classrooms and 3 special ed classrooms to consolidate the whole district, everyone that's in that elementary building right now. There's a lot of other spaces being used there now. Are they needed? Can they be consolidated? Those are all things that have to be discussed, but in this proposal, they're gonna be consolidated into the rest of the building, right? It's not like these are taking all the spaces that are used over there now and building an addition for them. That's my point.
My
Yeah.
concern is though, the fact that the state is saying we don't need all the classrooms. And I think the
There, so
public,
I just
Right.
absolutely disagree with that premise. The state is saying these are the BAUs and this is the MCA. Nowhere are they saying what we need or what we don't need.
I think a lot will depend upon the logistics of where that classroom is that you can utilize. If it's elementary, if it happens to be in the secondary level, it doesn't seem logical to do that,
no,
you know? So I think not only they have to look at the size of the classroom, but they have to look at the location of that classroom. So there should be a study that says, and teachers, some teachers involved that say, okay, we can do this with this classroom, we can do that with that classroom. But it has to be, it can't be, kindergarten in the senior
oh
high
yeah,
school.
right. Is there,
But-
oh, that would be fun.
That committee will be important to have the stakeholders coming together to decide this is what we need and where we need it.
Is there any way to get like one that's, like you can read what the rooms are designated for, like,
I would like that too.
'cause I've got really poor
I've got
eyesight. This is
decent
great.
eyes and I can only read certain stuff. But I know where a lot of the stuff is, but still.
Kind of back to the state deciding BAU and MCA and what the district needs. I think about foundation aid calculation, right? They have a foundation aid calculation too. I don't think for 1 second that calculation adds up to what a school district needs. They're taking care of the schools to the extent they can get away with.
These calculations and the process for counting the BAUs, the student pupil stations, it's been the same as long as I can remember. I mean, 35 years, not a lot has changed in how they calculate it, even though programs have changed substantially. And the technology that's been introduced in the districts and newer programs that they didn't have 30 years ago.
Yeah, and to that point, and I think that this is what Jason was getting at a little bit earlier, was that while we're bringing this whole building over there, that wing is not going to encompass this whole building. Like our pre-K classrooms, our counselors, school psychologists, I'm sure there are other things that not mentioning right now, but there are things happening on this campus that are not included in that wing, that we need some of that, some of that space in the existing Mountain View campus for. So,
Preschool and pre-K are not included in the wing?
No, we are.
and I'm sorry. Okay, so,
Sorry.
so, I mean, I was struggling to read the little letters.
No, I'm asking.
You want my
I'm
glasses?
asking
They
you
can have
if-
They must
if
be, right? 'Cause
there's
there's
a-
14 classrooms.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, I wrote them out.
Okay,
It-
I'm sorry.
Yeah, what's not included in the wing would be any special, if you have a separate elementary music room, or if you have a separate elementary library.
Nice.
That these are classrooms only, so everything, every other function, every support function, the offices all have to go into the existing building.
You just have to take your glasses off and go
Yeah.
like, if I can read.
But
That doesn't work for me.
I have a question. So we have an idea of what it costs to add each of these things. Do we have an idea of what a, do nothing cost would be for us? So if we don't replace the roof, is that adding extra cost years down the road because we get rot under certain things, et cetera? Is there any kind of estimate for those do nothing costs?
You can repair it. Yeah, it's gonna cost more down the road, absolutely. You can repair it, you can Band-Aid it for 10 years, and then eventually you're gonna replace it.
Right, we saw what happened with
And
this
it-
building.
When the building
Good
condition
work.
survey was done, that's a itemization of all the, for the most part, what you might think of maintenance issues, things that should be done in the next 5-10 years. And there's a dollar cost associated with each one of those. But we
It's
can't,
probably gonna escalate because it's a standalone project, so you're
Well,
not
they-
already mobilized with all the equipment to be able to handle it. And
They're
then you're also
30%.
gonna get 30%
it's
less
30%
aid.
more today than it was in 2020. So
Yeah.
what's it gonna be in
It's gonna hit the taxpayers
2035?
harder later when it does have to come, but
So then I guess my next question is, are any of these added items, would they be, I'm thinking of the hood as part of the cafeteria that needs to be replaced, right? Does that get flagged and fined as it is currently? Or
That
paying
could very
fines?
well be under scenario 1 in the mechanical,
Okay.
because it's part of ventilation.
Is there any way to get and I know estimates, you can't hold to it, but just an idea of what different items in the second one would cost?
Yeah, it's all in the building condition survey,
Okay,
but we can organize it.
no, it's gagging up there.
that's a good question.
But some of the things on there were mandated that we had to do during the survey, right? And some were recommended.
Mhm.
So could we take the items that were recommended and perhaps do another project down the road for those items and get a longer life?
Yeah, I think when you say mandated, nobody's, other than the code violation,
Well,
Bring it to the code.
violation, right?
if you don't, it's complicated because it all hinges on so much. So for instance, the mechanical systems, the ventilation system, it's not mandated that you do it,
No, but it's,
but it's highly recommended that you do it. And I think everything in that first scenario falls under that same condition. Scenario 2, I mean, the roof we only put it there because you can only do so much with the money available in scenario number 1. But that might be the very first thing you add, so that it doesn't become an issue later, which could eventually be a structural issue.
What's the max amount of a capital outlay project again?
100,000. There's significant pressure to move it like 2 or 250, but that hasn't been yet.
Okay. That's super low. It's not gonna help us.
From a timing standpoint, we really need to narrow in on what that scope,
Mhm.
what the scope looks like that we feel we have to have.
Actually, I don't think, have we gone over the project timeline?
Sorry?
Have we gone over the project timeframe?
No, that's the final slide, Josh. So I think we talked at some point in the past about a December referendum. If we can get all our ducks in a row between now and then. So the timeline is kind of to work through this process over the course of the next couple of months, because you have to, if you're going to establish a vote in December, you have to advertise that in October. So it gives us basically 2 or 3 months, 2.5 months to kind of get through this, to determine what the scope of the project is, generally speaking. We don't have to get into the nuts and bolts. We just need to know that it's going to be a classroom with so many, or a classroom addition with so many classrooms, and that the main focus of the reconstruction is as itemized or some other itemization. So if we did that in October, the board established a vote date, you vote in December. You got a year's worth of design before the project is ready to go to SED for review. It could be at SED review. It could be at SED for 3 or 4 months, which means you'd be bidding in the spring of 2028, and then it would probably be a 2.5 year construction project. Focus on the addition first, get it up and running. You can move some of the program into the addition while you're going through the existing building. And then when the existing building is complete, then everybody moves back into one larger campus. So
it sounds like final discussion, Q&A, back and forth to settle in on a proposal we would need to do in September. And then October, would there need to be a board vote to put out the referendum? And obviously we need to start the communication. Is that the timing of that? I can't remember.
Is our board meeting early enough in October to do it that way?
Let's start advertising October.
Yeah, I mean, if you voted, say, if your vote was December 15th, you'd have to advertise by November 1st. So
Oh, okay,
your October
fine,
vote.
fine.
But I think, I mean, again, what we do in the reconstruction project, that doesn't all have to be decided between now and October. I mean, that discussion can be going on even as we're designing it 6 months from now, or whenever it is. We need to know generally that you're in agreement with which scenario. And then probably the bigger question is the addition. Can you bring the cost down of the addition a couple $1 million by building fewer? But if you can, where are those kids going to go, and how are we going to relabel the existing facility?
I think the board members sound like, me included, sound like we'll be a little bit more prepared and ready to get behind this if we have, here's our current building layouts and how many classroom, all the different classroom uses, and this is what the new one's gonna look like. And we can show, hey, we're squeezing them all in. I think that's what the group's saying.
Mm-hmm.
I personally would like to see the space utilization study done by an outside entity, because I know there still is a perception in the community that 18 classrooms are not needed. So I think if we are going to promote this and get it to go through, maybe we need to look at, is there a way that we can downsize it a little bit, just so the public will say they are trying to work with us, they are trying to make, it affordable for the community.
I think having this, the layout, with proper, so that everyone could see, like, and you could literally say, this is what this is for, this is why, on both floors. You really need to be able to show people that. Like, I could talk about it till I'm blue in the face, but it doesn't matter if I can't show them, and certainly I'm not asking to bring everyone into the school individually.
But if you could
But
prove.
if I could show them
prove
that
to
would
the
really help.
community that there is indeed a need.
I think it's rebuilding trust
Yeah.
with the community.
Absolutely.
Whether the district deserved or didn't deserve to lose trust, like
Right.
that's a lot of the reason the other project didn't go through. There was perception of.
The 5-year
Lack of
rotation, sorry, the 5-year rotation that you do for renovation.
Mhm.
All right. How much was that worth? at the end of 5 years?
Well, your reconstruction aid on the Mountain View campus is 17.9 million
At the end of 5 years?
at the end of 5 years.
Another 5 years?
Yeah. And actually, you can do a project 4 years later, you're gonna get less aid. You wouldn't get the full aid for the
But I get
17.9.
some aid,
You get some,
right?
yeah.
Is it worthwhile to say, I do a number on this project that I have for, let's say, the ceiling. I say, okay, I think that'll last 5 years. Is it worth saying, I'm not gonna put it in there and gamble on the 5 years?
I'm sorry, I'm not following
Well,
you.
there's a lifespan. Usually on that survey, it says there's a lifespan,
Oh,
right? On
well,
certain
So I
items.
prioritize
Sure.
when I'm
yeah.
gonna put it out there. Is
Yeah.
that worthwhile?
Well, everything's gonna escalate 3, 4,
I
5% a
understand that,
year.
but is the gamble worth it?
Well,
What a pair of
We're
dice.
gonna play the lottery too.
well, right now, you're
Spin the wheel.
getting 90% on 17.9, so you will take full advantage of that, because 5 years from now, you're only gonna get 68% of it, even if you spend the whole thing.
Okay.
So, I mean, this project, I mean, this is almost a no-brainer to take that 90 cents on a dollar and do everything you
Right,
possibly
right.
can at the existing facility.
I understand that. I just was looking at, what could I do to put it out there in the future? Is it worth it, the gamble?
Looking back to when, before the merger, E-Town, Westport, we were in that situation where those decisions had been put off, and we were
Right.
like.
I don't want to put up something that's gonna be,
Right.
Now I got nothing, yeah,
You can't do it.
no,
right. I'm just-
no option but to merge.
Right, but you could do a science room.
Right.
You could say, okay, I'm not gonna do the science room now, but I'm gonna do it in 5 years.
Right.
Right, but your aid on that would be a lot less than it's gonna be right now. Because right now, we're gonna get 90. 5
Right.
years, we're gonna get 60.
But we won't
Right.
need to do as many renovations in
Right.
5 years if we get this now.
Well, you start paying down your aid, and then you can borrow again to do those other projects. And I mean, it basically balances out your payments for the long term.
Right. I have an old house. I didn't do everything on an old house right from the front.
Mhm,
I stagnant. I'm still working on it. I've been there 45 years. I'm still working on it.
mhm.
Yeah, this is our opportunity to do the big infrastructure stuff that protects the rest of the investment, right? Things like the roof.
Right.
That
You have
roof
to do the,
protects the rest of the building.
But keep in mind one thing, I mentioned maybe a couple times, the numbers we're looking at, they don't include the capitalized interest. So that's gonna add $900,000 to the bottom line cost of each one of those scenarios. But it also doesn't include your capital reserve. So if you've got $5 million in capital reserve, that comes right off the top. So that reduces the overall cost of the project and reduces the local share.
It could come off the top or it has to come off the top.
You can, a lot of times I've seen like, Rick Timms, the financial experts, they use that to pay off the first couple of years. I mean, they start with it so that
Okay, just
so that the
wondering.
principal is lower, which
Mhm.
makes the interest payments lower for the next 15 years.
Okay.
And that's not factored into any of our numbers.
Yeah, that was my question about interest. So like, basically, if we do scenario one, and we do the addition and everything, or was it 22.9, the local share, but we have to really borrow that 23 million and pay interest on that and keep going down, and the state pays us back their percentage every year
Over
over
15
like
years.
25 years, right?
Yeah, 30 on an addition,
Over what?
15 or 20 on
Oh, okay.
reconstruction.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
that's a lot of interest.
Mhm.
Anybody out there got an interest-free loan?
Right. And it's going up and up and up.
Any other questions or comments? Obviously, this will be a topic next meeting as well.
I guess my only other question would be, can we schedule a walkthrough, like either while we're there for a meeting or a retreat or something?
We have a retreat here on Monday.
I know. I don't know if that's too soon. I wasn't thinking that until now.
Like what you, just for the board members? What would-
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
If everyone wanted it, I'm not,
Yeah.
if we don't, fine, but
Yes.
Thank you.
In the Mountain Valley campus.
yeah.
All right.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
I believe Dr. Myers is going to review the next agenda item. Still part of the capital project update, the communication strategy. The gentleman from CBES was unable to attend.
Joe LaFranca, who was already kind of subbing for someone, he was a bit under the weather, so asked me if I could present some of the slides for him. So you do have the presentation. Well, I guarantee I'm not gonna do as good of a job as he was gonna do, but let me just hit some of the highlights on what he was thinking as far as this project goes, and if you have questions or things you'd like to see, he asked that I bring those back to him. So CDES generally can support districts through any of these methods. They do our website management, social media posts. They can do video testimonials, which you may have seen in other districts. Certainly take pictures, press releases, newsletters, graphic design, and then for our printing needs, they do our newsletters. You may have seen big postcards. Sometimes we send those out around budget time, or you may have seen in other districts, they send some of those home. Also like posters and workbooks. I'm not sure what the vinyl means, but I can get clarification for next time.
I would say if we're gonna do postcards, not only sending them home, but putting them at businesses in the
Sure.
community would be a huge,
Stewards.
well, towards the banks, you know,
Yeah.
all the coffee shops,
Yep.
whatnot.
Yep.
And,
Town halls.
yeah.
Yeah. So in terms of what it would look like with CBS, so, have a discussion. So that's what I would do with Joey after this, talking about specific needs, developing a plan. And he has what he calls the GHOST method, which, goals, objectives, strategies, and tactics. So he kind of walks through what all those are. And then, and I think really what we're worried about is the strategy. Well, what is that actually going to look like, and how are we going to make sure that everyone has the correct information and isn't, without allowing that misinformation to spread. And then shaping our story. What is the project? Why do we need the project? What are we going to do with the space? Those kinds of things. How can we share that with the stakeholders, and how can we distribute that information, and allowing the community to understand and support the idea here. Better future, establishing trust, enhancing strengths. And so then Joey walks through some of that GHOST stuff. So the goal, allowing for capital projects to begin, the objectives to gain enough support through votes to support the capital project. The strategies here, so developing communication design that will truly capture what we need here, and talks about all those methods on how to do that. Communication channels, both digital and print platforms to try to hit everybody with those, and then just maintaining that general coverage of other school events that kind of help reinforce what we're doing inside the walls here. So I plan to follow up with Joey, but just based on that very brief information, there's anything that you definitely would like to see or would not like to see in as part of that approach.
I think I'd like an understanding of timeline from them, just how much of a lead time you would need in order to put together materials.
Okay. I can just say that, so we already belong to this COSA, right? And what that means is we already have, dedicated hours per week. So I think that, if we would ask that they shift some of their focus to this, they could really, get it done relatively quickly.
Not instantly, but,
Yeah.
fairly.
But I can get a specific timeline.
And that's for general communications of the district throughout the school year that we have that.
Yep.
Right? Do we consider increasing that with the capital project?
So the reason that we initially joined that coaster was because of, capital project needs, and we've never decreased our level of service. So I think that they do have the capacity to do what we need them to do, based on the current level of service.
Thank you.
Anything else to relate to Jody?
Not to Joey, but I mean about this stuff. I wonder if beyond presentations at the school and in this setting, if we didn't find other already happening meetings that are well attended and try and do presentations at those types of things.
I
Like,
agree with you.
like
I
the
think we should have a
Westport
list
Fire
for both-
Department
for
has
both- yeah, both
an
groups.
insane amount of attendees and wish everybody did. But even like Waylandsburg and things like that, like if the more people we touch that way, the better. The same people come to the meetings that we have.
Mhm.
Whether it's actual school board meetings or the capital project stuff.
Mhm.
All the last meetings I attended, most of them, and the last one got a lot more people, but pretty much it's the same people coming.
Sure.
So how do we reach more people face to face? I don't know that
Really
the
good-
town
it's a
board
really good
meetings get
idea.
anybody, but I know fire departments do more so.
You guys asked
Well,
about-
at least you have, let's say, a meeting with 20 people. Those 20 people are
Yeah.
gonna talk.
And there are 20
So they
people
may not be
different.
there, but they're there.
Yeah, and those 20 people are different than this 20 people and so on. All the circles up here overlap for sure, but
Probably
even the social center. The kids probably want to know a lot, but all their parents too,
It's probably a good retreat item too, what we can and can't as board members share.
Yeah.
Or
Yep, yeah, we should do that stuff.
Like if,
Make sure.
you know, if Dr. Meyer, or district employee couldn't go to one of those one of the meetings in the
Meetings.
firehouse and they have their informational spiel.
Yeah.
If one of us could go, what can we say? I support this because, can I say that? Obviously we do if we're the board and we're putting it out.
right.
That'll be something we can talk about.
Okay, good.
But we should have information with us. How much is it
Oh, yeah.
how much is it gonna cost me for $100,000 of assessed value?
Right.
I've gotta have that number.
Yeah.
Because somebody's gonna ask that question.
There's certain facts.
Absolutely.
There's certain facts we have to
Yeah.
have.
Fact sheet.
And on
Um,
Monday, you can't say one thing, and on Tuesday, I
Right.
say something
Yep.
else.
A fact sheet and even a visual of, again, that visual of the addition and the current classroom.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Next item, board discussion, old business, did not have anything carried over. Any of the board members have old business that we need to discuss this time?
Well, you did say, Jason, before that if we wanted an RFP put out for legal services, that we were going to discuss it at this meeting. Did we want to discuss that?
Is that old business or new business?
Wouldn't that be old business?
I don't know. Did we?
We can discuss now as old business and leave it as old business. It was a previous,
Agenda
Discussion, yeah. Because we had talked about it previously as being part of the retreat, but apparently that cannot be discussed at the retreat. So how do people feel about putting another RFP for legal services? We had a discussion about that.
To add a third, you mean?
Right.
Okay.
I'm okay with it.
Or however many, but
What would be the purpose of 3 law firms?
Well, we had 3 last year and it worked out very well. Board members, some of the board members were very pleased with the information that we received from the 3rd legal counsel. And it seemed like,
More communication.
yes, there was actually, we received a legal memo after everything that was brought to the law firm. Every single board member received a legal memo regarding what was brought to their attention, how it was, what was the legal background and the decisions based on that question or whatever. And we were all informed. And I personally really liked that format of having that information and knowledge for all of us.
Does adding a 3rd law firm cost more money?
No,
No.
you use them just
It's
like
just-
the other one. You don't have a retainers, you use, most law firms, you just use them,
As in,
pay as you use.
It only costs more if their rate's higher, which I don't think they are.
Right.
Yeah, they're all pretty similar. Yeah, you only pay for what you use. So if you use all 3, you're not paying more because unless you called one, and I called one, all about the same thing, but
Right.
Certain lawyers are specialized in special ed or administrative or board or whatever else.
And if we found one that we really liked and was valuable in many different areas, special ed, financial aspects, criminal aspects, whatever, then perhaps we could condense into having just one rather than having the 3.
What do the 2 that we have currently specialize in?
Well, Dr. Meyer, you could probably, Stafford and Owens is more, real estate and things of that nature?
So, I mean, they're really all, I would say that just about all the law firms in New York State that we deal with and who responded to our RFP have, a variety of attorneys who specialize in different things, right? So, you're going to meet Megan Zedek at the retreat, and so she works with most of the North Country districts, in our region. That she's the one from Stafford Owens that works with them. So education is really her one of her specialties. Jackie Keller is another attorney from that firm that we work with quite a bit. She does a lot of the employment side of things. That's really her area of expertise. Then the Honeywell firm, again, they, as a whole firm, they do, I think, just about all the things that big law firms can do. But the folks that we deal with, we get all of our special ed counsel from that firm. And then Douglas Gerhardt, who you'll meet on Monday, he works with a variety of law firms across the state. So he focuses on school districts across the state. He's a former, he used to work for NISBA. He was a NISBA attorney and then moved to the private sector. So spent most of his career doing education stuff.
So what happens if the lawyers disagree?
They get paid more.
well, I kind of would find it hard if they are disagreeing and it's a legal issue.
Right.
I mean.
So they would usually all agree on things?
I would
If
think they
they
would
have the
should.
legal verbiage that supports whatever they're saying, I would think that we would have to listen to.
So I guess I'm just not really understanding why we would need a 3rd one. And if we like the document that we received, I feel like we could ask for that format from our current lawyer.
Sure could.
I don't know. How do you feel?
I would like to put one out.
You'd like to go
Yeah.
now? Can we maybe take a,
Okay. Who is the communicator to the attorney's firm? It should be you and then me.
It's actually one
well,
of the,
usually it's
It
the
should be-
it's
president.
actually one of the top.
But that should be understood, that is.
It's usually the
Right.
president.
If you go in and you're not the president or the chairman of the board, then you're liable for that call, I would think.
Well,
you know,
technically,
or
I
you
think
go through the chairman. and say,
usually the president does, but I think technically any board member can
Yeah, 'cause
contact
the lawyer is
the
the
lawyer.
board's lawyer.
They're representing the board,
I could,
the entire board, but usually it
It's
is the
just the
president.
so I disagree with your choice. So I call up somebody else, Jason calls up somebody else.
Mhm.
You know, and I've got a problem here because I'm spending a lot of money over, that some kid went to the bathroom at the wrong time. You know, I'd go with two, just because it limits that, you know, they're reputable law firms. And we've met with them, let's stay with two. That's my choice, because, and let's go through the chairman and say, okay, Josh, I got a problem here that we think we should discuss, and we discuss it here, and then we say, okay, we'll just go with law firm A as opposed to B.
So I do want to say that I believe that the exact question that you're asking, that is one of the topics of conversation for the retreat about how that should be handled. And I know that one of the things that you'll hear from NISBA, because I know it's part of their, I think they call it their code of conduct or whatever, that individual board members have no authority outside of the board. So I believe, my understanding, interpreting that, is that if you're calling an attorney outside of the scope, or, outside the scope of the board, or outside of, if you just get some random idea and say, hey, I'm gonna call the attorney on this, I don't believe you have the authority to do that. However, I want to say that you do have two attorneys coming in that will tell you exactly how that works. So I think it's best to leave that to the attorneys to answer that question.
Yeah, I think there's really
Perhaps
only
we
two
should
reasons
wait
to.
until we hear the information at the retreat.
Right,
That's probably helpful. I feel like there's two reasons to add or change attorneys, and, one is specialization, capability specialization in a certain area of education law. And two, as a board, if we're not comfortable with a certain attorney, because we feel for some reason they're not representing the best interest of the district, that would be another reason.
I totally agree with your second one, yeah.
I don't
and
know
we
that
say goodbye to
have
them, we haven't turned anybody into it. Goodbye.
So, all right, well, I think we agreed to, wait till after the retreat and get a little bit more information from our current district council. Any other old business? All right, new business, we have the Rural Schools Association Conference, and I see Dr. Myers has something up on his screen.
So Jason asked that I just make you aware of this conference. I think, did this come from one of your BOCES board meetings? Is that how you begin?
Yeah.
Yep. So I know that the CBS BOCES works pretty closely with the Rural Schools Organization, or excuse me, Rural Schools Association. I think Dr. Davey is still on their board, that board. And I've been to a variety of their conferences over the years. They're great conferences. This one is, I would describe this as sort of quick and easy based on our location. It's in Saratoga on December 3rd and 4th. And if there was interest in, attending as a board or as, a handful of board members, if you're interested, I think you can discuss, or you can let Bridget know. We can get you registered for that.
We would reach out to you, Josh?
I prefer if you reach out to Bridget.
So we
I can forward it just as easily, but I will not be signing anyone up.
for, like as part of our procedure, we have the board member PD request. So there's a form in your drive. You can fill that out to the best of your ability. I can pretty much fill it out, but then we will need board action. So if you get that, so anytime before, it looks like registration opens up September 9th. So if you guys want to get them in, we can do that at the next board meeting.
So deadline by next board meeting, and then we'll have it on the agenda to approve. And I think it is in policy, one of the policies, if you're interested in reading about board members attending that type
Yeah,
of stuff.
there's a form, then you have to come back and submit a letter like what you,
Yep,
obtained
you gotta teach the rest of us what you learned, I think.
You're doing that.
I'll let her do shit.
Any other new business? All right, next agenda item, public comment. Our agenda offers 2 public comment sections. Opinions, ideas, and concerns that are offered by the public will be considered and taken under advisement. We have set aside a 15-minute period, giving the audience time to share their thoughts with us. Please raise your hand to be acknowledged by the board president. When called upon, please identify yourself, give your address, limiting your comments to 3 minutes, and would greatly appreciate it if you could use the podium.
Hello, I'm finally speaking. I just wanted to say in regards to the building that some of the second and third options, they might be more expensive, but that money would that saved money will end up being needed to be used in the future to fix the things that are not being able to be fixed, and that money will also go to giving the students, your children and grandchildren, a better education because they don't have to go to school in a building that is broken. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any others? I swear I just heard a cricket. I really just think I heard a cricket.
You get straight.
All right, moving on, executive session, the board anticipates entering into executive session for the following reasons. Number 6 and number 8, we're expecting approximately 30 minutes or so. Is that fair? At which time we will return here to the open meeting again. Can I get a motion?
I'll motion. I'll second.
Chad, second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Pass the
I don't know.
8.
We should go pending any kind of
All right, the time is 7:57. Can I get a motion to return to regular session?
I'll motion.
Second.
Paige, Tom, thank you. Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the next agenda item is the approval of the agenda and minutes. The current agenda and the minutes from the July 1st, 2026 reorg. Can I get a motion?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. Discussion,
President Welch, I move that item 15F be removed.
14.
no,
15.
No, it's 15.
15.
Oh, yes.
It's
Oh,
changed.
yep, sorry.
It changed. 15F be removed from the August agenda for further consideration by the Board of Education.
can I get a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. So the original motion to approve the agenda now excludes the agenda item 15F. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried without 15F as part of this month's agenda. Next item, number 11, is in the addendum. It's a proposed tax levy totaling $8,909,005 as authorized by the voters. Also, an additional library levy of $55,000 as approved by the voters. Can I get a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you. Second,
Second.
Tom. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 12, the board has received the financial reports as listed in the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve?
No motion.
Paige, a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Deb. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion accepted. Number 13, to accept and approve the Committee on Preschool Special Education, Committee on Special Education, Committee on 504 Plan recommendations as presented in the board files. Can I get a motion?
No motion.
Paige, second.
Second.
Thank you, Darlene. Discussion?
I have a question. Josh, we're still looking for a secretary for that position, right? CSE? Lori's still doing it like as an intern, right?
Yeah, we are, trying to work something out with CBES, but I would say yes is the answer to that question.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 14, a consent agenda item for action items. This includes the approval of the school year handbooks and the approval of the Essex County tax collection agreement for the school year. I get a motion?
No motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Deputy Page. Discussion? The only thing I wanted to ask, the new teacher introduction and mentoring program, Dr. Meyer?
Yep.
I know that was one of our district goals last year, and some considerable efforts were put in there. I'm curious how that's looking, if it's much changed or improved or new.
Yeah, so, thanks. So starting last year, I would say we kind of piloted some ideas with our new teachers, and made, some small changes to our mentoring program. And, the parts that we changed, I would say we kind of solidified those, as part of that document. And, we made a few other tweaks of things that, we thought didn't quite work as well as one of them did to work. So made some additional changes there, but yeah, I think it was a pretty successful year last year with that goal. And we made some good changes moving forward.
Great. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 15, personnel consent agenda. And again, the agenda was amended to no longer include item F. Motion,
No motion.
second?
I'll
What's it? A reminder as well that there are some addendum items that were added into this, which are part of the packet. Any discussion?
Go ahead.
One of the volunteer assistant coaches for soccer says no stipend, the other doesn't. Are either of them getting a stipend? Okay.
No,
Thank you.
no, I'll
Just clarify.
I'll add that for clarification.
Okay. Is that typical practice that the assistant does not get a stipend? Okay, fine. Thank you.
Okay, I just want to make sure it's going to be okay for me to vote on this. I have 3 family members on that list.
I would say yes,
Okay, so they don't live with me.
as they are longtime contributors to our athletic program, so.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And we are down to 16, policy is recommended by the Erie Policy Services. There were three recommendations from that service. Can I get a motion?
I'll motion.
Page, second.
Second.
Tom, discussion. Dr. Meyer, did you want to mention what these were? Sorry.
Sorry. Should have seen that coming.
I think the board pretty much looked at those already. anyway.
Yes, so just real quick, so, the operation of motor vehicles, so we're just looking at a revision, really, I think on all three of these, we're just looking at revisions, on all these, and, I can just share where's the motor vehicle one, so that was revised based on an overwhelming number of districts requesting that electric scooters and bicycles with electric assist be addressed in this policy. The student data and teacher and principal data, this policy was revised based on the requirement that districts align their data privacy and security practice with the NIST cybersecurity framework. Version 2.0, additional minor revisions were made to better conform to policy services format. And then the toileting new policy was developed in response to amendments to the commissioner's regulations, which added a new section to require districts to develop plans and procedures for providing diapering and toileting accommodations to students that require them.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Meyer. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Okay.
Aye. Opposed? Motion accepted. And moving on to the superintendent's update, which does have an action item there.
Yep, thank you. Okay, so first grants update. So we're finalizing our title grants, which are due at the end of this month. The IDEA application has been submitted and approved, and finalizing the UPK grant, that's also due at the end of the month. And some pretty exciting news. We were awarded the extended school day grant again. However, we're awaiting the final funding award. So we basically were told that we're going to receive it, but we're also told but don't start spending any money yet. So we're waiting for a few more things to happen. But I know for everyone who's familiar with that grant, we were able to add a lot of pretty amazing opportunities and experiences for everybody. So we're certainly excited about that. Then the district safety plan. So again, no real substantive changes since we released it at the reorg. Just adjusted formatting in a few areas, added area codes to all phone numbers. I think that was it. If there was anything else that we changed, it was, not substantive at all, just little tweaks here and there. And we do need a motion for that.
Yes, sir. So the superintendent recommends the approval of the district-wide school safety plan. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Darlene, second.
I'll second.
Deb, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion accepted. Public comment. Our agenda offers two public comment sections. Opinions, ideas, and concerns that are offered by the public will be considered and taken under advisement. We have set aside a 15-minute period, giving the audience time to share their thoughts with us. Please raise your hand to be acknowledged by the board president. When called upon, please identify yourself and give your address, limiting your comments to 3 minutes. Mr. McDaniels. You're missing number 6.
My name is Stites McDaniel. I live at 6568 Main Street. In my comments, I will be using a specific name, which I know you guys have asked that not to be done in the past. However, it won't be in context of any judgment of that person, but instead that person's positions within the district.
Can you try to?
So as a special educator in the district, I have a concern regarding the amount of oversight I will be receiving this year from an administrator as I look at the possibility of that administrator also being used on an as-needed basis as a principal. And my concern, therefore, is what level of knowledge the staff within Mountain View, as well as the special education staff, will have pertaining to what as needed means, how often I will be seeing this person as a direct supervisor, how often this person will be seen by the Mountain View staff as a direct supervisor, and hopefully this will all be covered during the first day as well for the staff.
Yeah, so without getting into a dialogue, I will say that in our administrative needs this year, we didn't quite get the outcome we were hoping for. So there is a letter that is just about ready to go out to staff explaining that. And I'm glad you said what you said, because I don't know that the letter addressed that, but I will tweak it so it does address that. But thank you.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right. Before we move on to the next item, I just realized as we were sitting here, and maybe we should have changed the agenda, but we didn't give Sadie an opportunity to share anything. So, part of public comment.
Summer's coming to
I
an
don't
end.
think you thought you were gonna get away with
She's
that. Part of public comment, do you have any comments you'd like to share?
School starts soon, sports start soon.
Looking forward to it.
I have a question. Did you work this summer?
Yes.
What did you work?
I work at Snowport Books, and then I also work for the Depot Academy.
Oh, nice.
I'm going on Friday.
It's great.
All right, the next meeting will be a board retreat on Monday, the 17th. And our next regular meeting will be on Thursday, September 10th at 6 p.m. at the Mountain View campus. At this time, the board anticipates entering into executive session. Actually, we should have changed the agenda.
Yeah, I do not believe we have a need to go into executive session any longer unless anyone disagrees with that.
Board members.
Do we have to write that down?
Can you make a motion and vote no?
Yeah.
Can I get a motion?
I'll motion?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
We
Well,
don't need to
no.
go into executive
Please vote
session.
no.
All in favor?
No.
That's one. Opposed?
Yes.
Nay.
Nay.
Motion rejected. No executive session.
Done.
Tried to torture us.
Going to start myself.
At this time, can I get a motion to adjourn
I will.
the regular session for August?
Motion.
Paige, thank you. Can I get a second?
We have to
Alyssa,
have discussion.
discussion? You want to drag it out?
Yes, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
What time do you want me to drop this?